All right, let's start the first 5-axis module. This is the part we're going to be working on, and we're just going to index using the B and C axes on the on a UMC in this case to engrave top, front, right, back, and left on this 5x5 block. Nothing crazy here. Just trying to show the basics. So this part is available on Blackboard. I'm not going to have you draw this. Okay, so just open up this Mastercam file provided, and make sure you use the UMC 750 content folder that is also provided, and import that the same way I've showed you in previous videos. So let's take a look here. Let's start a new machine group, mill, and there's the UMC. All right, and like I did in the previous two, I'm just going to name the first toolpath group stock. Okay, and then I'll do my stock model, and everything's fine here. The color I'll just pick as red. And then I'll do model and just select this model. Okay, and that'll be good for this. I'll hit green check. Now I'm not going to create another PMesh file for this. There's no point on this one. You can at any time. It's not a big deal. So I'll just turn that there, and we'll leave the solid there. Also, the levels aren't broken up. This is just as you would import it. But again, I did provide a Mastercam file just for ease of use instead of a step file. So now we're going to go up to machine group, right click, and go to groups, new toolpath group, and this we will call, we're going to break up each side of this part in a toolpath group. This is going to be top. All right, now before we get into creating the contour to engrave on top, go to planes and make sure the WCS is top and C and T are on top. Okay, so we'll go to contour now. Go to window, select top, select your base point, and you chain it real quick, green check. Tool, I'm going to go to library. I'm just going to go to filter, make sure engraving tool's on. I'm going to select an 1/8 inch engraving tool, 90 degrees, and that's fine. I'm not worried about your speeds and feeds. Rapid retract we'll put on. Tool can be 1, but again, that's not the focus here. I will load a holder this time just to show you that. So I'm going to pick this holder here, B2C40011, this one in the list. And the tool projection, I'm just going to go to 1 inch. Now I'll hit apply. This becomes important, especially on the UMC or any multi-axis machine, because you really got to watch for collisions more than you normally would. So I do load the holders. So there's a holder for this one that we're just going to use, and we'll continue from there. Okay. Cut parameters. We're going to go to off. We're going to turn lead in and lead out off, and everything else is going to be off until you get into linking parameters. Everything's going to be left incremental. The depth will be minus 0.03. Okay, and the clearance is going to be incremental 2 inches. Make sure they're all incremental. Now we'll go into planes, and this is fine, except for in work offset, we're going to force this as 0 here, and that's fine. So now we're just going to hit green check. All right, and it's going to update because the stock model uses the top plane as well. So update the plane for all operations that use this plane is good. All we're updating is the work offset numbering. So let's hit green check and green check. So there's our top. Okay. So we'll go to toolpaths, and there it is. So let's go to machine group. Let's go to machine group again. Right click and groups, new toolpath group, and this one we'll call front. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing for the front plane. All right. We'll go to contour. I'm going to window, select the base point, and hit green check. Everything in here should be the same. The holder, everything. It's kind of nice. It saves your previous settings. The only thing we need to change now and double check, which is really important, is that planes, we can go in here and select front for both of these. Now, that's one way to do it. We'll manually offset, call it 0, and it's going to prompt us again. That's fine. Now, that's one way to do it. Make sure what signals Mastercam to kick out any rotary movement is a change from your WCS to T-plane and C-plane. Okay? So next time, what we're going to do is we're going to go to planes first and kind of pre-select, but we could always change this at any time. We're going to hit green check, and there's front. Okay, let's take a look at this quickly in Verify just to see what's going on. So I'm going to go to my simulator settings, make sure the stock model is selected. Okay, I'll select everything. I'm going to go to the Verify settings. And I'm going to hit play. I'll slow it down, and I'll hit play. So there's top, really easy. And there's front. Okay? Now, That's really easy and verify. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and let you catch up, and then we'll continue the other sides, and we'll take a look at our code. All right, so you see I have a new toolpath group here, right? All right, so make sure you create that, and we're going to work our way around this way. So the other way to make sure, or to get your planes right and your work offset correct before you get into contour is going to be into planes, okay? And select right C and T, and then go to manual and name it 0. And that will pre-select. So now anything we create after this will be on the right plane in the C plane and T plane. So we'll go to contour now, okay? And I'm going to select window this and select everything if I can, or hit escape, and try to start my window a little higher. One thing I recommend is be careful, because sometimes it will select through. So I'm just going to click right here, and I'm going to go to contour again. I'm going to window this way. Select the base point. Okay. Double check, make sure nothing else is selected. We look good there. Green check. And everything else should be the same. All right. Linking parameters should be the same. Planes is just want to double check that. Notice how they're already input correctly. That's because we pre-selected. We'll hit green check. And right is now complete. Okay, I don't see any weird leader lines. One of the things that's a red flag is that the leader lines kind of go around, but that looks good. Let's take care of the next one. So we'll right click, and we will go to groups, new toolpath group, and this is going to be back. Okay, we'll pre-select this time. We'll go to planes. We're going to go to back, and we'll make this to be 0. And then we'll go to toolpaths, and we'll go to contour. And again, skew it a little bit. It does help. Window back. Select a base point. Hit green check. And everything should be good. Okay, except for the planes. And we always double check the planes. Good. Green check. Let's finish the last side. Okay, which is going to be left. So I'm going to position this where I want it. I'm going to go to machine group, right click, groups, new toolpath group, and this is going to be left. All right. Now we'll go into planes again. We'll go into here, select left, override the work offset to 0, hit enter and green check. Go into toolpaths, contour, window, base point, and green check. Everything should be good. Always double check the planes, green check. So every op is complete for right now. All right. So let's go isometric, and let's backplot this quick to make sure everything's looking okay. This is a good time to save. It's probably a good time to save after each one of these is complete. We'll go to backplot, and we'll watch this run. You'll see the tool rotate around. Okay. You could always show the holder if you want. All right. So backplot's okay. Let's take a look at this and verify. All right. We'll watch it run. I'll speed it up a little bit. Looks okay. All right. So now with this, I'm going to show you a quick simulation. I have the UMC loaded on my computer. If you want to do this, I do have a UMC machine that you can import. It's not really importing. You put it in the right file location, and you could verify it. Or you could use a default, just to mess around. You could use the default machine, which should look like this. Let's see. Yes. So you're going to get a trunnion style machine. That's it. This is what defaults to in Mastercam. So if you hit play, you can see it verify. Okay. And this is where you can really watch if you're going to crash or not. And again, you got to make sure your post is right, because this is still running off Mastercam, not running off of your G code. But you can see it simulate. This is just a regular trunnion machine. So this is what you're going to have by default. So feel free to do this. Okay. But what I'm going to do quick is I'm going to get into my simulator settings, and I have the UMC here somewhere. We'll try this one, and I'll verify again and get in a simulation. And there's our UMC. Okay. And what I'll do is I'm going to turn the machine housing off. And this is all that really matters to us. Okay? And you could watch this run. Now, again, you got to watch your clearances. All right? And that's what we're watching out for. We're tight, but it'll be fine. Okay? There's a crash. Okay? There's another crash. Okay, now I don't have collision detection on or anything. Okay, but let's take a look and let's fix that. So we have to use a longer holder. Okay, so let's do our holder list. We'll get out of here. And let's take a look at, let's just get into one of the first contours and go into holder. Okay, and this holder is only, around 3 inches long. So let's take a look and see what else is in the list. Now, again, you have to actually have this in the shop loaded in the machine. Otherwise, it's fake. So let's take a look and see what's in here. And see if we can find like an ER32 collet that's longer in the default list, which I know are available at the college. And again, I mean, it doesn't, there are exact holders you can import right in. These are all standard holders. But you need to be real careful with this because it needs to be not exact, but at least the outside dimensions, depending on how close you're cutting it, for it to be accurate in collision detection. And you can see there's a ton of holders in here. So I'm just scrolling through. There's a couple good ones. There's one 5 inches. So that's 6 inches overall. Let's see what else they have. And again, that's not the one I was looking for. So that, we have one similar, that looks like an ER32 collet. Again, I don't remember the actual number that we have at the school. We'll just get something that's a little closer. So that's an option. And again, you could just keep scrolling through. Even something like that would be better, just for our simulation. And again, you got to actually have the holder. Okay, so me not being there, seeing what you are actually doing, or if you're trying to run this, you need to make this as real as possible. This is critical. So we're just going to pick this holder because I know it's longer, and we'll hit green check. And I'm going to update the assembly and all operations that use the assembly. So I'm going to update everything. Okay, I'm going to select everything, go into verify again, and just go into the quick simulation. So you see it is quite a bit longer. So let's run this and see if we have any collisions. Alright, so we were always good on that side because the table has flats. It's the next C move that we had issues. So there it is. So we are good there. And you'll see that's a lot of the issues with this is your clearances. So I don't really use any of the machine simulation for 3-axis or even 4-axis. I don't bother. But with 5-axis work, I find this extremely helpful because whenever you're tipping the B-axis around, tipping both axes, it doesn't really matter. You got to watch your collision. It's very important. Here's your simulation settings. Nothing is set up here for real. This is just default checks. But let's get through this one before we get into actual collision checking. Only because I'm not sure. I'm a little concerned with people's computers being able to run this. So this is okay for now. I'm not really worried about machine simulation for class. All I'm worried about is getting the code to look right for now. Because again, we wouldn't be this close in reality. We would import a fixture and a base plate if necessary to kick that part out away from the table. So just for a simple 5-axis layout, this is all I'm worried about for now. We will get into the actual bringing the tooling in, putting the tooling on the table stuff at a later time. So let's get out of here. And that looks pretty good. It simulated okay. We just had to get a longer holder. And again, I'm not going to be picky on what holder you use because again, in theory, we're not running this. But just know that if you go to try to run this part, there are some variables you need to be aware of. Because once that machine starts spinning, not only is it fast, but it's real easy to hit the head of this machine. Where on a 3-axis machine, it's not as easy. So let's take a look here. Everything's selected. Let's post this code. And again, I am using the UMC post. Alright, so we'll take a look. Alright, we got our from home movements. We got an index, an original index. We got the locks. We got our first rotation to work offset and absolute. Spindles on. Locks again. Then we get our dynamic work offset on. Our height offsets are there, smoothing settings, and then we get into our cuts. Okay, so there's our first rotation, dynamic work offset, smoothing, and continue. So let's take a look here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into the search, search and replace. So let's just go find. I'm going to look for a B because they're going to be together. Hopefully it'll do B0 each time. So we'll see. So there's a B90. There's our first one. So that's front. Okay. Then we go. There it is again. Again. Back. Okay. So let's take a look at some things we can do to keep this a little more organized. We'll get out of here. And in these, if you hold here and go top, hold here, front, right, back, left. Okay, so let's save that. Let's select them all and let's post it. Now the only thing that's going to do is add some comments, which is kind of nice. So help keep us organized to what's going on. So go here. All right, top is right here. We keep searching down. Front. Okay, we got a rotation. All right, got dynamic work offset. Continue. All right, our locks, table locks on and off. And we continue to right. Same thing, rotations, dynamic work offset, etc. And it continues all the way through the back. Left. And that's it. All right. So hopefully that is a good intro to just some 3+2 machining. Again, I did not bother loading a vise, and I'm not going to be real big on. If you really want to try to load the actual UMC, I can work with you on that. But I recommend for now, although the axes don't necessarily match up, you don't have to use the UMC. You could use the default Mastercam and see how your computer runs it. Some of this stuff can be, it shouldn't be that bad, but simulation tends to be a little bit demanding on the computers, and this is not even like the real simulation that Mastercam offers. You can go into simulate, machine simulation right here, and that gets a little more intense. It is useful. Again, the only time I've ever really had a need to use it was on the UMC, just to make sure I had clearance. And the part, again, the parts aren't even complicated. It's just you got to watch when that rotates. You don't hit the head or hit the tool post, or not the tool post, hit the tool holder, etc. That's why you'll see a lot of 5-axis tooling really puts the part way away from the table, so it gives you room to work. All right. So hopefully this was an intro, a helpful intro to simple getting that machine, getting a 5-axis machine to move how you want it. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, just in case some of you do want to actually simulate this, in case you are starting to run the UMC at school, to get your simulator to pick up on a crash, at least in Verify. Again, we're not in like machine simulation, the more advanced one in Mastercam, just the simple Verify machine simulation. If you go to File, Options, and your General Options, make sure that the tool, fixture, machine, I click those two, and I also click all 4 of these on the bottom. Okay, and that's fine. All right, those are usually, this will be blank and these will be blank. So leave those on. You don't want workpiece on with the tool, because then every time it starts to cut, it's going to turn red. Now you may or may not want that, but we don't for this one. So you want these settings right here, okay, for now, and we'll hit OK, and we'll go to simulation of the machine. I have the UMC still in here, but we'll hit play, and you'll see what happens. All right, we're good there. Like I said before, thought we're good. It's going to kick the C again, and we got a crash. So it's going to turn red. It's going to show you what's hitting. So again, to get this to occur, you could also do your stop set, your stop conditions and turn a collision on. It'll stop there too. But if you want this sort of effect, again, I did shorten this holder. This is not where we just left off. I put the original holder back in. File, Options, your collision checking. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful, and this will be a quick start into a little bit of 5-axis programming using Mastercam. Okay, and again, this will work on the default, but you're probably not going to have a collision issue on the default because the trunnion that they select on that is much smaller. The only reason we have an issue here is because the table radius on the UMC being so close with the part, again, without a vise, without the spacer block, there is a collision. That's not really 100% realistic because you would normally have a vise or a spacer block. All right, but for right now, we'll leave it there. Again, don't feel obligated to do this, but if you are interested in that and you need it for work or for whatever, let me know, and I can assist you with further simulation questions. Thanks.